put my timer on because Andrew's not here with his giant timer. How will we survive? Welcome into the Harvest, friends. I am Abigail Wilson, the editor-in-chief here, and I am joined today by Hope Bailey. Hope is our media. What's the official name for it, Hope? What's your
curator, if you want to use that.
Curator? Oh, you guys. So we are in for a real treat today because I'm joined with our curator of social media, and she does, in fact, make us look really good. So it's going to be a really fun conversation. But first, let me just say that we are here at Into the Harvest, hoping to help you be a disciple and make disciples in the everyday places of life. And today we're going to be talking about being a mom in the harvest places, what it's like to disciple in the seasons that Hope and I are both in. And hopefully we're going to touch on some social media stuff. I've got some big questions for Hope. So stick around. It's going to be fun. All right, Hope. So this is, I think, your first official time on the podcast. Is that right?
It is. Yes. First podcast ever. It feels pretty legendary.
Man. Oh, man. Well, yours is already looking better than mine. I think mine was in a closet. So yours is already, You're like a professional already, I can tell. So, but for those listening who may not know you, can you just give everybody like a Hope rundown? Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm Hope Bailey. I live in sunny San Diego. We were just talking about the weather. It's 75 and sunny here. So I live here with my husband, Ryan, and my two kids, Ellie and William. Ellie is 3.5, almost 4, and then William's almost 2. So life is pretty nonstop right now. You can imagine. So my husband and I are on staff with the Navy Navigators here, and we've been on staff for 5 years now. Yeah, right before we got married. Yep.
So it's been that long. That's crazy.
I know. We love it so much. It's honestly, when I think about it, I did not ever really think I'd be in full-time ministry. When I think back on where I was at before I met Ryan, before the Navigators, all that stuff. Yeah, never really thought I would be in full-time ministry, let alone like military ministry. Very foreign.
I know.
To me and my upbringing. So, we're civilians. I mean, we aren't at all in the military. So anyway, yeah.
So Ryan didn't have any background with the military either.
He was in ROTC in college, and that's about it. Yeah. So, yep. God's plans are so much bigger and better than our plans, but it just goes to show that it's not really what we ever think it might be. So
true. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I never thought I would end up being around military people either. I don't think I knew a person in the military before I met
Yep.
Jess.
Same. Yep.
Yeah. But we've learned a lot of lingo over the years, haven't we? I bet you know a lot of things now too.
I know a lot of acronyms. And that's, so I'll blurt them out. People be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's right. But we sound really cool to those who know. Well, that's excellent. So, so you came to know Andrew through the Navigators, through the ministry there. And that's kind of how you joined our team. I think that's how the story goes.
Yep. Yeah. He was discipling my husband, and I mean, before we even started dating, he's been a big part of our lives, and it's been pretty awesome to have it come full circle and be able to partner with you guys, and be able to have our full-time ministry and your guys' ministry and our ministry here at our ITH coming together. So that's been fun.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So I want to get into that. Specifically, I think you and I probably have similar lives, but not totally. So I thought what would be fun is if we're going to ask a couple little questions, and we're going to let everyone in on the two. So I have older kids. I have kids in school. My youngest is 6 and my oldest is about to be 12, which is insane. So I'm very elderly in comparison to you. And so I thought it would be fun. Well, let's talk. I think it'll be interesting because I think I remember what it was like to have an almost 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. But honestly, you forget things. So I think it would be really fun for our listeners, especially if the ladies listening are at all trying to do discipleship, ministry, stuff like that. I'm sure between the two of us, we're going to reach somebody. So,
yeah.
Okay. So in your, like you as a mom, and you're also trying to disciple people, I'm assuming, because you're like on staff with the Navigators.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that like, juggling those two things? Like, give me like a little rundown of the day or the week or the minute.
Yeah. Well, I say it looks very organic. That's probably the best way to put it. I think each week looks a little bit different, to be honest. We have quite a few things going on in regards to, Bible studies and big group events and that kind of thing. But when it comes to, my own personal ministry, it really does look different, week to week. But I would say that right now, it's a lot of life to life. So I think with the military community here, for sure, it's very transient. People come in and out all the time. And so people are sometimes only here for 6 months. And so we get a very short amount of time with people here in San Diego. So I think for me, part of my focus is like, just connecting with women. Mm-hmm. And so trying to build those relationships, that's a big part of it. Whether that's, hey, you want to come over to my house and do quiet time together, or, do you want to come with me with the kids down to the park and we'll sit and talk while they play, or, whatever that might look like, just to try to create a relationship there, hear how they're doing and that kind of thing. But then I would say like the second part for me has been something that my mentor said to me a while back. It was probably a few months ago. Was she was kind of hearing me out, and I was having one of those few weeks, and she said, she's like, I really don't want you to burn out, and I don't want you to burn out because Jesus doesn't want you to burn out, and that's not his design for you, in regards to your personal ministry. And she's like, faithfulness looks like a lot of different things. And sometimes faithfulness looks like just meeting your family's needs and meeting your own spiritual needs. But she said the one thing that's helped her was just to choose one woman and invest in that one woman. And the other thing she said was that she would have that woman come to her in the little years.
Yes.
She's like, I didn't have time or, the ability to go and, meet at a coffee shop, or even like to go to her barracks, or to, I had littles, and I have littles. And anyway, so that has really helped me, I think, a lot in this season, is to, have one, just one. And the girl that I'm discipling right now is actually deployed. So I've been keeping up on, WhatsApp. And so that, once again, that does free me up to spend more time with, maybe some of the other ladies here in the ministry, and build relationships there. So, yeah.
I have so many follow-up questions. Okay. I'm going to try. Okay. That's really, I love that, that desire for you to not burn out. I think that's really key. Recently had a similar conversation with our mentors. I think it just comes up a lot.
Yeah.
We've been like doing this for like 5 to 9 years, and we're like, whoo. And it's like, well, Jesus did it for 2.5. So I guess the other alternative isn't cool for us, but I think it is really important for us to set really solid like boundaries and just margin for ourselves, no matter what
Mhm.
season we're in. And it's interesting, I think your season in some ways is a lot more full on. Like the littles, they're like attached to you and they really give no break
Mhm.
whatsoever. And to finally, after like 11 years, sending all my children off to school, it was very odd to think like there's like a weird silence in the house and no one's sleeping. Like it's so strange. And so the shift was that I was able to find the margin to now I'm the one going to people. So that was a big
Mm.
shift because I had the same fabulous advice when I had littles as well. Like always
Okay.
have people come alongside you. And it's actually a real joy to now be in a space where I get to go and like be with my friends at the park with their littles.
Mhm.
Now, it's
Mhm.
weird when I show up early and I'm there by myself without children. You feel like a real creepo. But as soon as they show up, it's really awesome. And it's just a kind of a strange, like, season change, of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
now I can be the one who's way more
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah.
But I definitely think having just those couple of key ladies that you're investing in, it's really great because that helps me not be pulled a million different directions. But awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me, here's one of my questions though. Tell me what is it like trying to invest in a very transient place? What are like the key things that you want to pass on? I didn't even give you this as a pre-question, so sorry about that. I just have to do it on the slide.
It's all good. It's all good. I would say hmm, each person comes at a very different
Mm.
season or I guess level of faith
Mhm.
and growth in their Christian walk. And so I think that um, I think it looks different person to person. But I think that depending on where they are, I always want to just major on the basics.
Mhm.
So, kind of getting in on, I literally, you can see it in the little foreground here.
Oh yeah.
That's the wheel. The wheel, if you're not familiar with the wheel,
Yeah.
it's a big thing in the navigators, but the main hub of the wheel is crisis center. And the spokes are, vertical. So it's the word and prayer. That's how we relate to God. And then fellowship and witnessing are how we relate to other people, whether that's, non-believers or believers. And so, and then the rim is the obedient Christian in action. And so that's where the rubber meets the road. Anyway, I would say that if I'm going to focus in on anything, it's seeing how they're doing in all those areas.
Yeah.
And then just helping to support them
Yeah, for
in that.
sure. I love that. That's such a great answer. See, you just like nailed it on the fly. I love it so
I've
much.
gotten this question before.
Yeah. No,
So
no,
yeah.
pretend like it's the first time. I'm on my hard hitting Oprah questions. Well, yeah, I think it can really feel overwhelming in a short time, but honestly,
Mhm.
like you help someone get healthy and one of those things, and that is can be just a huge life changer for somebody. So that is so like key, and I love that. So
Yeah.
one question.
Mhm.
Now you have littles and you have a 2-year-old. So,
Mhm.
what has been the hardest adjustment from you? I mean, you guys were started, you were married and in ministry like together.
Mhm.
So, what was the hardest shift going from no kids to basically you've been in this season now for 4 years? What was the hardest thing?
Hmm. I would say the hardest part, and I thought about this yesterday when I was writing down some notes. Um, I would say the constancy.
Mm,
It's just been constant. Um,
yeah.
I think that, and you even touched on that, like when you have littles, you are touched all the time, and
Totally.
they love you, and you love them. But
We're the
wow,
center.
Whew, yeah. So I think that like, it's I had wrote down, I think the hardest part about doing life, in this season right now is, yeah, just if sometimes it just feels like Groundhog Day. It's like the same day, same things day after day after day. And it can kind of, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten worn down a lot. And yeah, just being perfectly honest, last couple weeks were pretty hard, just mentally. Like,
Yeah.
it, is any of this of importance? Does it matter? And I would say that, yeah, so that I think that has been the biggest part. And then just learning what does it look like to separate um, ministry and our family life, and ministry and my own marriage or mental space. um, Life and ministry do this, and that's what it should look like.
Yeah.
Should. So it's healthy, it's good.
Yeah.
But I have been noticing that, yes, there are times and places where I need to step back and look at is this stuff taking precedence, whether that's time with somebody, these Bible studies and stuff that are all good, but are they taking away from, maybe my patience with my kids? Are they getting the tail end of me? So yeah, well, I'm still working on all this stuff. So yeah, I would say that's been the hardest part. And I would say, last thing, I think nobody likes sanctification. And woo, I mean, you get married and it's like sanctification, yes. And then it's like you have kids and you're like, and the Lord's like, yep,
I know.
these are my little chisels to chip away,
And you know
at these things. So.
And now that they're older, they're like little mirrors, which is even more frightening. It's
yeah.
like, oh no. So yeah.
Grace all over everything.
Yeah. Just like, oh man, why do we all need Jesus today?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so good and so true. I think it's really, that is the constant, right? Like we're always having to just reassess. And a lot of what I was hearing you talk about there was identity, right? Like our identity can start to slip like any old second. Like first it starts to slip and like, it's just all about our husband and they're like just so perfect and like, oh. And then we get married and they're like so not perfect. And we're like, oh no, my identity is all crushed. And it really does, like all those, I just slip into it. I slip into this identity somewhere else. Like these are my idols. And I think that's the most maybe surprising thing about life in general is just how much these things become the idols that I didn't even realize they were. Like they started out really good. Ministry, good thing, important, but it can't become our identity. Like who we're investing in, how many people showed up to Bible study, how many people showed up to our church. Are they even turning out? Are they even following Jesus? Like those things can like so quickly become what I'm all about. So it is like you said, it's, that wheel behind you, Christ is the center. And when it starts to slip out, and especially when your kids are really little and you're like sleep deprived, and it almost just seems like that's my identity right there.
Yeah.
With some diapers on. It's really.
Yeah. Again. And
another one.
I'm at Costco again buying more diapers.
Oh my gosh. Right, man. I was just there. That will not change because what you save on diapers, you will just start spending on snacks.
Oh, well, there you go.
So there
Stuff
you
to
go.
Look forward to.
I know. Good times ahead. Okay. So I want to, let's see. Let me see if I want to hit on any more like discipleship stuff in this season. So as I did want to kind of talk one last thing on kind of what that looks like, as far as, do we really need to have strong division between discipleship, ministry? Like, do we need to be like in these little bubbles, or can we make it a big bubble? So, I mean, you touched on this a little bit, like for health wise, it's important for you to kind of maybe have a little bit of segregation. Can we talk about that a little more? I feel like.
Yes. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this because you are that one stage further, few stages
Yeah.
further than me. So
Mhm.
I definitely would love to hear your thoughts on it. But I think um I guess um I mean I think sharing life with people is one part intentionality. So being intentional with your time with them, but that other two parts, I would say, is time. And so intentional time, those two things are extremely energy taking
Mhm.
and they take a lot of investment. And like I was saying before, I think it's healthy and it's good to do life in ministry. People need to see your life.
Mhm.
You know, the people that you're discipling, the people that you're reaching out to need to see what it actually looks like to how do you discipline your kids? You
Yeah.
know, how do you, how do you choose to, I don't know, uh, what are some things that you do to, uh, encourage spiritual
Routine.
habits,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, or routine,
Right.
life stuff, spiritual stuff,
Mhm.
anything. It all needs to be, it should all be seen. I think that's what Jesus did. He said,
Yeah.
come and see my
Right.
life,
Yeah.
follow me. So I think that that's a big part. But I think the hardest part when you're in the harvest is knowing what is a healthy cross.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, like a cross between, yes, doing a lot of life with people and then what is healthy for you as a family to
Mhm.
step back and that kind of thing. So I will say one thing that we've done is that our weekends are very busy. So it's just an example.
Yeah.
Um, that's when we do the most like work, if you will. That's when people are reachable.
Mhm.
So Mondays are like our Sabbath. They're like our sacred time. We shut off our phone. We go and do something as a family, or we literally just sit in our pajamas at home and like don't let anybody in our house. So it's very much like people know that. We've
Yeah.
made that. I think
Mhm.
this is our family time. So I think that has helped us a lot. Just
Mhm.
having that day to look forward to, or I could pick my book and read, and
Mhm.
I could do my own thing that day. That has helped me quite a bit. Does that answer your question?
No, it totally does. And that's a
Okay.
really healthy, and I think it's a scale, by the way. Like as I think that they're at the beginning of children's lives, you almost need a little bit more um like, well, maybe it's not. I'm not now I'm like haven't answered the question in my mind, so I'm gonna just talk it up. I
That's
think
okay.
that it has just shifted and that my kids are a lot more aware. We try to be really intentional, like, hey, kids, we're about
Hmm.
to go into these people's houses and we don't know what it's going to look like in there. And I want you to be praying
Hmm.
because mommy is going to be sharing with this person and we're doing this together. And
Yeah.
you need to not ask me for a snack, like there's just some certain things
Hmm.
like, but we're all doing this as a team, we're a
Yeah.
team unit and, there's no more naps in my life. And so I have a little bit
Yeah.
more time and I'm not like quickly having to be like, oh, I've got to get out of here, I've got to get
Right.
home for whatever. So that's really helpful. And I think as your kids get older, it's really exciting that they get
Hmm.
to see too, like they're our number one disciples in
Yes.
that
Yeah.
what you were talking about coming along, Jesus saying, come and see, we're doing that with our kids
Our
almost
kids. Yeah.
immediately. And I think it helps them too, and not feeling like every time mom leaves, it's off to like meet some lady. And so I don't really like this, like, or dad, like dad's
Yeah.
always gone. And so
Hmm.
having us inviting our children into ministry is really important and key. But boundaries are just good in life in general. Like it's
Hmm.
really key for health. And I think we try to also really protect our children in that as well. Like I can just tell if my kids need 1 or 2 nights a week where there's just no one else in our
Yeah.
house, or we need a weekend off. Maybe not from church, but from like
Hmm.
all the other stuff, because church takes like 5 hours in our So it's just the balance
Mhm.
of that. And I think not being too set in stone about it or legalistic about it, like we always do it. And so you
Mhm.
have to come, but instead really showing our kids grace, ourselves grace. And
Yeah.
we're not robots.
Yes.
So I really love that you're already doing that. That's so fantastic. And I think that will just play more and more of a role in our lives. If we stay
Mhm.
active in ministry, which I pray that we do, no matter what it looks like, whether you're full time
Yeah.
or just doing it because you're a follower of Jesus, I really think rest is like so key, and don't feel
Mhm.
guilty about it. Like, don't, because that's like a female thing. Do you feel guilty? Because I always am like, super guilty. Maybe that's
Mhm.
just me.
Oh, I think it's a human nature trait.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's not just me. Okay, well, before we wrap up today, I do have some social media questions for you, because I am so thankful that you are part of our team now, because I like seriously just went offline. Ooh, I just like ripped my headphones out. I got so excited. I just fully went off of social media for 2 months because you were there holding down the fort. Like Into the Harvest was like what was having to keep me there. And I just could totally take a break. So thank you. You didn't even know it happened. But I was so thankful for that, because social media is a really hard thing for me. Like I struggle with that in healthiness, and like having that be healthy
Mhm.
in a huge old way. And sometimes you just have to take a break from the struggle and like just go cold turkey so that you're not even
Yeah.
having to struggle anymore. So
Mhm.
I want to talk to you. You may not have it down perfectly, but you're able to do it as your job with us. So tell me a little bit about your little routines of social media. What does that look like for you to remain in a healthy space? Tell me the secret.
Yeah. So, let me look at my notes here because I'm a mom and get everything.
Mom brain.
Yeah. So, I would say, okay, so I guess a little backstory. So I wasn't ever, um, yeah, I never did this before coming on board with you guys.
What?
I just had
You were a
my personal,
natural.
oh, well, thank you. Gosh, it's been a lot of learning, but I've had my own personal page. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's just pictures of my kids. It's
Yeah.
whatever. It's not a big, responsibility there, but, I have always loved art and design. And so back in high school and college, I loved that. Oh my goodness. And so I was actually going to go to fashion design school and potentially go into more of like the graphic design side of things, but never actually did that. That God closed that door. But I've always had a love for it. So when Andrew reached out, I was like, I have no experience. So we'll see. But, yes, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. That'd be awesome. I'd love to do that. And you guys were so patient with me as I onboarded and kind of figured out the whole system and how to do things. And
Girl, people
so,
know, like anyone who sees our Instagram page right now, like you can scroll on down, although it'll be very embarrassing, but just scroll down and you will see when Hope hit the team, because
oh,
things just infinitely looked better. Well, actually, Andrew and I both do. I'm just interrupting you to say this because it's important you hear these things. Andrew and I are both perfectionists, and so we're very annoying. And we both have very strong opinions, also annoying. And but we're not like infinitely talented at everything we do. Big surprise. And so it was very hard for both of us to like see really amazing Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts and just be like, oh, okay, we just totally have to have the most beautiful thing ever. And we really were just not gifted. I think that is so cool that you had a real love of design
yeah.
and really a God-given talent, and you couldn't pursue it. And here God was like, I know exactly what to do. I love that so much. Well,
Yeah.
that makes me
He's
happy.
good at, I don't know, orchestrating. We all have a part to play in the body, and I think it's neat. So yeah, so it's been a fun process. I mean, I think, I don't know, I was a little bit nervous, like I said, but
Mhm.
it's been fun to, I don't know, do that on the side and stretch my muscles in that way. But I guess like day to day, that just looks like for me, I usually set aside like an hour during nap time and I'll create content or
Mhm.
post things or schedule out posts because I can do that where you can,
Mhm.
have them come out a few days. So if I know I have like a busy week ahead, what I'll do. And then, yeah, and then I'll just kind of pop back on every, I don't know, maybe every couple hours, just kind of check and make sure everything's,
Mhm.
there's comment, respond back to comments,
Yeah.
messages. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of what it looks like for me right now. Like day to day.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, like there's a huge benefit to being on social media these
Yeah.
days. I know we rail on it a lot because we there are a lot of things that aren't good about it.
Yeah.
Let's just yeah, there's a ton of things. But I think that social media is where everybody is now.
Mhm.
Just the fact your grandma even has Facebook.
Right.
So it's crazy. The platform, like if we're not using this platform
Mhm.
for the furthering of the kingdom and helping people just to like look into our lives in a transparent way,
Mhm.
you know, to glorify Jesus or to point others to Jesus, like I think we're missing a big, huge
Mhm.
mission field that we can all be a part of at home, sitting on our couch or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that
Mhm.
it's a really cool time to be, you know, able to do this right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really
But yeah,
inviting people in. And like we were just talking about in our actual lives, but where it's almost
yeah,
like an extra inviting people in, so to
yes,
speak, which is pretty cool, especially
yeah,
when we're in our PJs. So maybe we don't want to
exactly,
invite people in.
exactly, yes. But I think that I had just written down um, that. Let me look at my notes here. I missed my spot. Um, I think it's good for our own, like, okay, so I would say the biggest thing for me has always come down to how much time
Mhm.
I'm spending
That's where I need your help. Tell me what to
on
do.
social media. So, and we all, if maybe we don't all know this, but it's pretty common knowledge now that social media is literally designed to keep you on your app, whatever it is, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, Snapchat. Um, and so the amount of time I think we can even scroll through and we'd be on there for what we think is 5 minutes and it's an hour.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Where did my afternoon go? But I think that the biggest thing that has helped me has been three things. So one is I set a time limit on my app,
Mhm.
and and I stick to it. Like that is something that, yes, I've fallen off the train many times and said 5 more minutes or whatever the little
Yeah.
option is.
Yes. Oh no.
Five,
I hate the
five
5 more
minutes.
minutes.
Ugh.
Oh, I
But you
need
know
it
what my
to
sister
cold
said?
turkey. I gotta
Yes,
cold it. I'm out.
yes, I know. My sister said, though, you can set a password, and she said she gave it to her husband. And so if it times out, you have to get that password, whatever code, like
And that
open
would
up
be
that app again.
embarrassing, right? Like we don't
I
want
know you're
that
like,
stress.
babe, no. But anyway, so that's a big one. So yeah,
Yeah,
one, just
good one. Good tip.
set
Yes.
that time. And I have an hour. It's my, time for the day for social media. So then once I get on, it is a lot more intentional. You get on there, you post something, or you check on, something or respond back to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all the time you get.
Yeah.
Maybe scroll a little bit. Um, and then number two is to really filter like the profiles and the people that I follow through like two questions. Is this edifying and encouraging me
Mm-hmm.
closer to Jesus, toward Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
Um, or even just in a healthy place as a person.
Yeah.
And then the second question I ask is this feed, or how is this feeding me?
Mm-hmm.
So am I coming onto my social media platform when I sign in
Mm-hmm.
or open up my app? What is this feeding me? You have a feed. It's literally called a feed for a
Yeah.
reason. You're being
Yeah.
fed. And so that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Is it feeding me? Is it edifying me in the right way?
Great questions.
Yes. And so then the third thing that really has helped me is to kind of just check in with myself. So am I overwhelmed right now? Am I sad? Am I lonely? Am I on here to just escape? To shut down, to check out how is like my head and my heart when I'm coming on. And if I kind of just take a second to ask myself that, there are a lot of times when I'm saying, you know what? This is probably not the best thing for me mentally in this moment. Absolutely. Maybe I need to go take a walk around the block, or maybe I need to go and, take a minute to just do something else, like focus on something else. And then I can come back in a healthier spot. That has helped me, especially in the times where I'll get to the end of the day and that time of day where it's like the witching hour and the kids
bath time
are
bath
time, almost bedtime. Yes. And I'm done. I'm done with the day. I just want to be done. And so then, I find myself pulling up my phone. And so, where am I at? So that's a good way for me to kind of assess. And then, it is terrifying, like how much, if you look at your time, your screen time report, how much time you do realize you're spending on. So I guess assessing those things has really helped me. And actually right now I'm like completely off Instagram. I just needed it. I needed 30 days to just reset.
Way to go. How in the world is Into the Harvest happening? It's fine. Well, yeah.
My Instagram account, not yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I think those have been really so key. I love those questions, though. I think I'm going to definitely start implementing that. Another one that I did while I was off the 2 months, I deleted all the apps and I have not put the apps back on because it is really like those apps are perfectly designed for your pleasure. And what they don't look good on is Safari, like putting them on, it's like it's like hard to read and you're like, and it's like constantly like, getting all wonky. And so it's like not a pleasure, but I still can get the information. And so by having to get on Instagram and Facebook once a day, just to make sure no one has been like, oh my gosh, I'm having a baby. That's like, I don't want to stay on because it's hard to look at. So that has helped me.
Good tip.
But I also think passing the password on to the husband is also fabulous, or just your friend or your buddy or whoever, so that you can't cheat on the 5 minutes, because definitely cheated on the 5 minutes.
Yes. And 5 minutes turns into another 5 minutes. Yeah.
And then it's do you want an hour? And you're like,
Yes, exactly.
Very good. Yeah, it's a struggle, but I love what you said, that it is where almost everyone is. And as believers, we really have to figure out how to healthily navigate this world that is out there that people are in, or woe to them, because how in the world are we going to be able to invest in all those humans? So I really love that perspective. And I hope that people are checking out our Instagram and our Facebook, because Hope really has brought beauty and substance to our page in a whole new fabulous way. Like sometimes we'll say things, and this is really embarrassing. I'm about to just really rat on myself, but I'll read and I'll be like, oh, that is such an amazing quote. And it's come from like one of my articles, but she made it so pretty and like really took it out that I'm like, oh, that person is amazing. And it was me. No, I'm just kidding. It's usually a quote from somebody else, but it is awesome. And so all those listening, just know that is Hope behind the scenes. But I am so glad that I had you on today, and we're going to have to do this more often because you had so much great wisdom to share. I hope all the ladies listening really enjoyed it. And I know I did. I definitely learned a lot. So thanks so much, Hope.
You're welcome. It was fun to be on.
Yeah. Well, friends, I will be back with Andrew again very soon. So don't forget to ask us questions. If you have questions for Hope, you can always comment on this podcast or on Instagram, Facebook, info at intotheharvest.org. We are at all the places you can reach us, and we love hearing from you. So don't forget to like whatever this is that you're watching/listening to. It really, really helps us. And I will see you back very soon. Thanks, Hope.